Welcome back to the Forensic Unplugged channel, guys. So, sad day. This M4CS, which is without doubt probably one of the best cars I've ever owned. It's an absolute stonking car. Well, I think it's sold. I've decided to sell it via trade because I didn't want to deal with people. It's a very high value car, sort of 40 to 50 grand car. It's a big transaction to do with someone you don't know. There's risk involved. Time wasters, all that sort of thing. It's not good selling a car like this. I don't think. You never know. You could get lucky and just sell it. But I've sold it on motorway to a trader at trade price. Not a great price, but I'm getting the convenience of an easy sell. And the motor chap is coming to pick it up later on today. And I hope they like it. And you know, they know about the car. They know, they know about me. They know about the channel, and I think they're going to like it. I mean, I'm staring at it now, and just thinking, they're going to like it. They'll want it. They'll want it. Brilliant car for the money. Probably the best car I've owned, I think. Or in terms of performance and what you get for your money with this car. They haven't scrimped on anything, BMW. It's covered in carbon fibre, like the roof, the bonnet. The bonnet's like £8,000, something like that. The carbon fibre roof, I think it's a plastic boot lid, carbon fibre diffuser, carbon fibre lip, proper forged alloys, carbon ceramic brakes, adaptive front LED headlights and LED platelet rear lights, which are incredibly expensive, light up like a reptile, like the scales on a reptile lighting up. It just looks amazing. The car looks the dogs. It drives like an absolute rocket. 0 to 60 in 3.9, and that's not its strength because it's rear wheel drive. It can't put that power down. When it's going, and you've got some speed there and you floor it, my God, it's fast. And lots of people map them and all that. I don't think you need to with these. It's the torque really that, there's a limit to how much torque you can put down. They're fast enough, rapidly, dangerously quick car. So John, if it's so amazing, why are you selling it? Well, I am really sort of like reluctant to, but I talked about it when I sold the Porsche 4S. Having 3 cars is a little bit too many for me. This car, I just put it through an MOT and it needed 2 new rear tyres. With borderline, but I did it anyway. About 800 quid to do that. The insurance now is about £1,000. It's gone up by about 40% through nothing to do with me. That's just the way it is. They all do it. The premiums on these cars and certain cars have just gone through the roof. And I don't like things like that. I don't like getting hit by big increases because I know people are just making money. I don't care what anyone tells me. They're just making money. And I don't like to be on the receiving end of that. The forged alloy wheel is amazing. Carbon ceramic brakes are just like on another level of performance. The S55, is it twin scroll turbo or twin? I think it's twin scroll turbo, isn't it? I can't remember. Anyway, someone will tell me. Really beefy engine, really torquey engine. It delivers so much torque and the turbo kicks in so quickly. It just feels like a good engine. It's not, the exhaust note, it's a bit beefy, rather than raspy with a naturally aspirated engine that you've really got to work and rev through. This gives you loads of torque very rapidly and you feel that, you feel that acceleration. If you're a connoisseur, some people might say this turbocharged engine, it's not as good as a naturally aspirated engine that you've really got to blast out. They might be right. It's all preference, isn't it? But my God, in terms of performance, it's good. In terms of reliability and all that, it seems really good as well. Very solid engine. Amazing car. Great car. But flawed in the winter when you're running Cup 2. So for about 4 months of the year as well, I can't really utilise this car. It's just, you can't put the power down. It's just it's like Bambi on ice. Whereas my Porsche that's outside, I can just still absolutely cane it around. Things might be falling off on the Porsche and I'd be rattling around, but the drive on it is just a different level to BMW. But don't get me wrong, what a great car this is. the fact it competes with all those. There's not much that it won't keep up with. Amazing. So that's going to go off to pastures new, and it's going to free up some space. And I have no desire to get any other cars, modern cars, as you hear me whinging about. I think you get to a certain age where you feel like you've seen it all. And I think experiencing this M4CS has been like the pinnacle of what I've ever owned. It really has. But I do feel that this car is way too powerful for a guy like me to be driving around in. And I'm reasonably sensible. And I just don't know. I fathom to understand how we are allowed to drive around on the road and things like this. When the limit is 70, like you hit that and like you're going along at like 30 or 40, you put your foot down in this and like half a second later you're at the speed limit. So you can't really get to enjoy it too much without risking using your licence. It's a car to take to a motor circuit, isn't it? It's a car, the dealer, you know, knows that I've been around a few circuits on it. The thing with all these cars is they are not, they're built for circuits. They're not built with all this performance to use on the roads. They're just not, because of speed limits, obviously, and the road conditions in the UK and the amount of traffic. They're built to, they're not even really tourers, I don't think, because maybe you could say this has got a GT element to it, but it's all weight reduced inside, and it's more of a car that's been built for ultimate performance. It's like, it is for the guy that loves BMWs, loves the look of BMWs, and every now and then, you know, wants to take it around a motor circuit, or take it, you know, to the Nürburgring, or take it to, you know, on a road trip or something like that. But I say that, it wouldn't be my first choice to ever take on a road trip, because it's too quick. But we've covered that. It's certainly comfortable on the road trip. It really is easy to drive when you just get in it and like kind of stick it in efficient mode, which is its default. Never could work out why it defaults to efficient mode but sport suspension. Why? That's the dumbest thing ever. It should be efficient mode and comfort suspension. You can't change that as well. There's always a few dumb things about every car. That's dumb. Not being able to change your presets. So every time you get in the car, you have to change your suspension to comfort when you want to drive it normally. Dum-dums. They'll have fixed that in newer models, I'm 100% sure. Defaults will be programmable, because that's just what you should be doing. Anyway, let it go, John. The war's over. Incredible car, and I will miss it. And every time I see a reference to an M4CS, I'll think about these. If you are buying an M4CS, for me, it's very personal, and you know, it's very personal. And I changed my mind a few times on this, but I definitely want carbon ceramics. Incredible. You have to have the adaptive headlights just because of the way they look. The adaptive front headlights, when you turn them on, you know, they go like full beam, and then they quickly knock down when they see traffic coming the other way, so they've got cameras in them. The thing with those adaptive headlights is they dim the lights when they see the headlights of the other car. So there's like a split second where you're blinding that person before the lights dim. You've lost the battle at that point. You want to dim them before that you can see that person's headlights. You know what I mean? So if you're driving along at night, you've got your headlights on, you go around a corner, you see just like a little hint of light. So you turn your headlights off before you see that other person's headlights, and then you don't blind them. How many times have you been driving home at night where you can see a car coming, they've got full beam on, and they come around the corner, and then they blind you, and then the lights, the second after they blind you, they dip down. That's their adaptive headlight system, I think. So I don't know how they got that through testing, you know. When someone must have been explaining it conceptually, it's like, we run the full beams, but when it sees another light, it dips them down, and people in the, whoever does the safety standards thinking, oh, I like the sound of that, great idea, yeah, tick. But no one said, hold on, mate, if it drops them by after the time it's blinded them, then it's actually dangerous, it's no good, because you're dazzled at that point. Anyway, you can see how my stupid mind works. Amazing car. If you love BMW, which I think they make some of the best performance road cars, not bespoke sports cars. You know, Porsche make their sport cars as sports cars ground up, whereas BMW will take their cars that, you know, like this is the 4 Series, you know, coupe, because there was a Grand Sport version, and then they'll modify it. Their M division will modify it to make it an absolute weapon, but they've got a slightly harder job that they're not building it ground up from performance as a sports car. But in terms of creating a performance car range, like a bit like AMG and the RS range in Audi and, you know, whatever, I think BMW are ahead of the game. I mean, you take the latest G Series M3 and pit it against, you know, the Audi and Mercedes equivalent. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, you know, on a circuit. I'd lay my house, all stock and all running the same tyres, stick cut 2s on all of them. I'd lay my house that the M4 is the fastest around, you know, any given circuit. It's so well. BMW know how to balance a car really well. But saying that, you know, it's whatever you want. It's whatever you want. But if you're into what cars have perhaps got the best chassis and stuff like that, with that power and the best handling, prior to going up to Porsche, then you could really fall in love with BMW. And I like their styling as well. You know, I love the BMW styling. It's not to say I don't like other marques. You know, I do love other cars, but they tick different boxes. Whereas the BMW will tick the box for me that if you want to take it on a circuit and enjoy that chassis and enjoy that handling, they're really good in that sense. You know, if I had an RS4, there was one, I just saw an brand new RS4 Estate. It looked amazing. I thought, well, that's got, you know, that's a lovely car, that is. It'd be great to, like, as a motorway muncher, and like you bury your foot on the floor and you'll be up to 150 in no time at all, and you can chuck stuff in the back, and it's great. But you put it on a circuit and you'll just destroy the brakes. You'll probably cook the brakes, and the chassis won't feel quite as good, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, BMW, not for everyone, but certainly I like them. So there you go, guys. Well, the day is early yet, but I'm pretty sure that they'll see this car and they'll just want it. And it'll be gone. And I will be, as it goes, I'll be like, what the hell have I done? What the hell have I done? But ultimately, that's a sign of a great car, that you sell it and you're like, perhaps maybe not the right thing to do. Let's just put my thinking cap on. This will carry on depreciating, I believe. You know, let's say this car's worth 45 grand retail, you know, and I'm selling it for way less than that, like way less, because the dealer's got to take a risk on it from their point of view. I understand that. But let's say it's worth 45 grand. Over the next, I think, 1 to 5 years, let's say 5 years, over the next 5 years, I think this car will depreciate down, possibly all the way down to 20 to 25 grand, which sounds crazy, but I think it will. When the next generation come out and all of that sort of stuff, and it becomes the 3rd generation, it hits that rock bottom period where no one's interested in them, because the bargains become the previous model, where everyone wants to get out the previous model on their finance deals and get the latest one. They become the bargains, and they're quicker, and most of the market, they look at that performance. So these become like the forgotten thing for a while, and then they suddenly come back into their own because there are limited numbers of this CS later on, and then it will start creeping back up again. And it is truly limited, so it will be long term. I think the CS will be quite a desirable thing, because you get a lot on top of a normal M4 for your money with this, especially when you're buying second hand. I said that when I bought it. It's worth paying the extra for this. I paid 56 grand for it, and it was worth it just for the carbon ceramics, It's fully loaded. It's got the heads-up display, all the adaptive lights, and I think lime rock is the colour to get. It's the flagship colour for the CS. You can always tell what's the colour to get by which ones are harder and rarer to get, because they're more sought after. And if you go and look on Auto Trader and eBay, there's about 10 blue ones for sale, one white one, or 2 white ones, I think, and no lime rocks, and maybe 1 black one. Black's nice as well. I do like black, but it's hard as, you know, when you're driving around the black one of these, you don't know it's a CS. So it's nice. When you have a lime rock one, it's an unusual colour, and people are like, ooh. So I think lime rock is the way to go, and it really goes well with the carbon fibre, as I've talked about before. Yeah, lovely car. Love it. Amazing. So there you go, guys. Have I made the right decision? You know, what do you think? Do you like this car? It's been pretty well received on the channel. In fact, very well received. Turns a lot of heads. Gets a lot of thumbs up. But I think obviously there's a lot of people that hate BMW. It's just the same with any marque. There's people that hate BMWs. You get the BMW haters. But no, there hasn't been much of that. Pretty much, I think most people like this car, and why wouldn't you? It does look really good as well. Like BMW, they had their styling during the F Series period, I think, was really good. I think it's gone a little bit downhill since then. Let's not go into that. But they know, I think they really knew how to style a car when they were doing at this F Series kind of juncture. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.